don't you feel the pressure? And he said, भाई राजदीप भाई प्रेशर जानते हो क्या है? जब मैं खड़गपुर में टिकट कलेक्टर था और ये सब पब्लिक आती थी and I was told by my boss कि कोई बगैर टिकट नहीं चलेगा. I will never forget Cyrus, him ringing me up excitedly. Rajdeep, I want you to come to Mumbai soon. I want you to see, I've seen the next big Bombay cricketer.
Sachin?
No, this was 2006-07, I think. Just before he passed away, it was Rohit Sharma.
Wow.
So that was my eternal regret that I never scored a century at Lords.
You, Sunny Gavaskar, Sachin Tendulkar, it's August company.
It's in the air. It's a 6.
Welcome to a century of stories cricket brought to you by IDFC FIRST Bank, now recognized by Forbes among the world's best banks of 2025. Rajdeep Sardesai joins us. Of course, son of the great Dilip Sardesai and very much heart of Mumbai journalism and cricket. Those are his two favorite subjects. But cricket above everything else. And what people don't know before we get into this topic is, Rajdeep, you played decent cricket. As in, you... No, of course, you're going to be humble about it. No, but what I mean is, from our perspective, you didn't play for India or for Mumbai, but you did play a decent level of cricket. You played for combined universities when you were studying in Oxford.
I played cricket, Cyrus, but that's not the entire sentence. I played cricket, but not very well. There's the second part. No, look, my first class average is 28, which is mediocre.
Right.
Just above mediocre. You could say average. I mean, there are some decent test cricketers who also average around 28, 29. So that was my average. My highest score, 66 not out in my first class match against Kent with Derek Underwood in his final season. And you spoke about combined universities against Pakistan, 1987, Imran Khan's team. And I was bowled by Kadir for 1.
Did you open the batting?
You see, I was very clear once I went to England and was playing combined universities. Going opening meant you'd have to face Malcolm Marshall on a cold...
Hampshire, yeah.
on a cold April day.
But you did face him.
Benson and Hedges, I faced him basically from the other end. Every time he'd come to bowl, I made sure that I was more or less on the other end. I faced a young Alan Donald. Oh, Alan Donald got me out. I went for a hook. I don't know why I was trying to hook without a helmet. Hit me on the glove, went up in the air, and the wicketkeeper Humpage took the catch. Look, as I said, I played cricket, but not very well. And I think, although I got a fair amount of runs, my only regret is I was batting on 40-odd in the big match, Oxford versus Cambridge at Lords, and really batting well. For once in my life, the ball was hitting the middle of the bat. And then comes Mike Atherton as a change bowler.
Oh, no. You bowled leg spin, yeah.
Little bit of leg spin. Leg spin that never turned, which was the mistake.
That's okay.
So he bowled a short ball, and I tried to just turn it off my hips. I got hit on the thigh, and the umpire, John Jameson, born in Mumbai. Father was a Mumbai police commissioner.
Oh, my God.
Former cricketer, John Jameson, gave me LBW. And I was really distraught. And I showed my sort of anguish on the crease. After the day, I was called into the umpire's room and admonished.
And lost 50% of your no match fee.
I had no match fees. But think about it. That one occasion I thought, I'm at Lords, I can score a century.
But to be fair, it was going down leg or he didn't turn the ball, so it was...
Yeah, I think it was, if it was DRS, it would have probably been umpire's call. If not just above the bail. I'm a tall guy and I'm trying to push it over. I get hit on the thigh. So that was my eternal regret that I never scored a century at Lords.
You, Sunny Gavaskar, Sachin Tendulkar, it's August company.
But let's not talk about my cricket. It only goes downwards after this.
No. I think your dad made 2 double centuries, one for himself, one for you. But let's start with him.
Let me tell you one last final thing about my highest score in club cricket is 234 not out. What you cannot tell is that it was against Dadar Union, the great Dadar Union, Mumbai's leading club. What you cannot tell is the opposition had only 6 players.
What? They didn't turn up?
The guys didn't turn up. They had 6 players. I scored 234.
Who fielded?
Those 6 guys. Bowler, wicketkeeper and 4 fielders. Yeah, but the stumps are there. I keep telling people they could have got me bowled. But Bombay Gymkhana defeated Dadar Union by 10 wickets.
I cannot defend this Bombay Gymkhana. How can you play?
So whenever people ask me, what's your highest first class score? I say 234 not out. I do not tell people that it was against six players. And I say it's against the other union. So I look better.
But I've actually batted with Rajdeep in one of his festival games that he organized, and he played a fabulous square card reminiscent of a Viswanath meets Gordon Greenwich. More Gordon Greenwich, actually, with the bat flying in
Cyrus,
the air.
you're going to embarrass
Too much?
me.
All right, so let's talk about the greats then, the ones that inspired you. This episode is about his favourite cricketers, Rajdeep Sardesai's finest cricketers, right from childhood towards the modern era. And when I say modern era, I mean now.
Look, my first cricket hero, Eknath Solkar.
Yeah.
He was the most unbelievable fielder in particular, and was a very stylish cricketer. Bowled a little bit of left-arm spin, also bowled a bit of left-arm seam, and batted very well. He was the poor man's Gary Sobers, as they called him, which was a bit unfair. Which was a bit unfair. Wonderful life story. I call him the first subaltern hero of Indian cricket. Father was the groundsman at Hindu Gymkhana. But Eki was, he was a lovable character. He had the style, the panache, left-handed, so, came with his collars always up. And he used to give me Coca-Cola. I used to sit in the children's stand at the CCI watching Mumbai Ranji Trophy matches. Those days, people came to watch Ranji Trophy matches. And in every drinks break, Solkar would organize a Coke, those little Coke bottles.
Small, fun-sized bottles.
That he made him even more of my favorite, more of a favorite. But remember, 26 tests took 52 catches. That's 2 catches a test. It's a fantastic average at short leg.
Yeah, and the first half of those tests, we weren't doing that well either. So it's like the wickets were falling.
Yeah, and he was, he would sort of go in a crisis, would hang in there. So he was my first cricket hero, and we've discussed 71. He was one of the stars of 71.
Just one quick word about him. Exactly what you said, the crisis man. One of those guys whose performances, I think 2 big partnerships with your dad, telling partnerships, turning a test match, you can say turning a series around. Please check out the other episode, the details are there. But there are certain cricketers who do that. Now they're fired in their belly for the big occasion, for when the chips are down.
Absolutely. He was a big match player. Showed that in 71, showed it in 72 when England came back here. But there was, sometimes when you ask for your favorite cricketers, it's not just the runs they score, the wickets they take, the catch, but the way they do it. There's a certain style. And when you're 6, as I was in 71, Eki with his collar up and long hair, things, in school they wanted us to have crew cuts in those days.
Right.
So, you hoped that one day you could also have long hair like Eknath Solkar.
Anti-establishment figure, sort of.
And Cyrus, it's interesting. Many years later, I was playing club cricket, and there was a match between Hindu Gymkhana, which Solkar played for, and I think I was playing for CCI. And Solkar was bowling to me. And I said, my God, man, I've really arrived. Eknath Solkar is bowling to me. I didn't get out to him.
Oh, nice.
I didn't get and guess
spin
what?
Or the seam?
Seam. And guess who he used to always get out? Jeff Boycott. He got
yes, famous.
Boycott became his bunny. And, the joke goes that Boycott said, Eknath Solkar gets me out because because he's too slow. End of the day, it's in the scorecard. LBW bowled Solkar.
He also did one of the first Indian guys to give it to the opposition, as in with his limited vocabulary in terms of English. He would
absolutely
have a few words.
Absolutely.
Body language was always in their face.
Expletives to Gary Sobers.
Wow.
But always done in a nice manner. Eknath Solkar was, he was.
I don't know how you can do expletives in a nice manner, but I get what you're saying.
You can. You still can. I think it was a gentler era, where it was never said with any kind of venom
malice,
or malice. So I think, Solkar is right up there for me and I hope one day someone writes a nice biography of him, because it'll tell you the story of how Indian cricket transitioned from
where he comes from and where he goes, where he takes the country with him.
Amazing. And then at Hindu Gymkhana, he would organize bhel.
He was always there post-retirement. He would keep
coming
and going.
There. He was always there. Died a little too early. But he was, by then he had a beard. Always smiling, always gentle. Talking to you now about him, I can picture him all those years later. Like to dress in colourful clothes, In those, the bell-bottom generation, but they like their...
It was the 60s and 70s, the
That's
swinging
right.
60s.
They like red shirts, green shirts.
Also, they were stuck in whites all the time. So you can, that paradox of
he
getting
played
out
for Mafatlal, which was the leading office team of that era. So and the Mafatlal kids were in school with me, so we'd go sometimes to have lunch at their office.
corporate matches.
Or go have lunch at the office. And the only reason to go lunch at the office was we could go and meet Eknath Solkar and shake his hands.
And just remember, in those days, they would actually attend the office. They would get these corporate jobs and actually be part of the machinery, not just sign at the end of the month.
Absolutely. 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then go and have nets.
There you go. I don't want to rush you, but let's get as many as we can in this session. So that's Eknath, who this is Rajdeep's favorite, all-time favorite, first hero. Then
I'd go for Viswanath.
I knew it. I was about to.
I'd go
wish
for
I had
Viswanath.
written it down and showed
I'd
you.
go for Viswanath. And I'll tell you a story that has stuck in my mind. Not just, what Viswanath did on the crease. He was just the most magical batsman. Wrist work and that square cut and that late cut like no other. On a bad wicket.
Chepauk.
Like Chepauk. Not a bad wicket, but a fast wicket. 74, 75 against Roberts.
Yeah. I think with only two
he scored 97 not out. Which is, I have some memories of it.
Some say the greatest Indian innings, including Lakshman's 281. Difficult to.
Certainly one of the best innings that could have been played by an Indian batsman. But I'll tell you a story. Many years later, I was writing my book, Democracy's 11, and I wanted to interview Viswanath. I go to Bangalore. He's not well. He's just come out of hospital. And I say, sir, I'll come to see you. He said, no, I will come to see you.
Wow.
And self-drives on a Sunday to the Bangalore Golf Club because he says, I'm going to host you. You've come to my city.
Yeah.
And, it was just, I can't imagine any superstar of today's generation doing that. Self-driven. And we chatted till late in the evening. And it was, he never wanted to talk about himself. He always talked about the others around him. But what a player. What a player. I mean, I think one of the things, Cyrus, that distinguishes the good from the great is the time they have to play. Viswanath on the back foot had far more time than most players that I've seen. That square cut man. Short man, but that square cut
and he could play it like an arc from third man all the way almost to cover.
Absolutely. Late cut of the spin bowlers, square cut of the fast bowlers. And a lot of guys in Bangalore tell me that you could often find him at the market, picking up vegetables, going out.
Yeah.
He was a Kannada. I once did a sort of show in Bangalore asking Bangaloreans, who's the better batsman, Gavaskar or Viswanath? 9 out of 10 said Viswanath. One guy comes and says Gavaskar. Immediately the 9 got, change your mind. How can you say Viswanath is not better than Gavaskar?
Gavaskar himself says Viswanath.
Look, I think they're of course brother-in-laws.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you are, as I said, if you are on a bad wicket against a really tough attack, you might pick Viswanath to bail you out. I would still pick Gavaskar to bat for my life.
I think this weekend,
I would pick Gavaskar to bat for my life.
That 96 of Gavaskar in the last test in Bangalore.
I think
right there.
I think Gavaskar 96 at Bangalore
Chepauk
against
97
Pakistan
against West Indies.
and Viswanath 97 at Chepauk.
It's touch and go.
Yeah, and you don't want to choose between the two. I still remember one more shot that Viswanath played. I was the first test match, Cyrus, I recall watching, 72-73 Brabant Stadium, England versus India, Tony Lewis's England. Viswanath comes in, scores a century, but I still remember him hooking Chris Old into the swimming pool.
Wow.
It 6 and then rolled into the pool. The ball came out wet. But there he was. And don't forget, Jubilee Test, captain of the
1980,
team.
the Bob Taylor incident.
Recalls Bob Taylor.
Yeah.
Because he had been wrongly given out. How many people will do that? I mean, he was the ultimate gent who carried a punch with the bat, but played the game the way it should be played.
Rishabh Pant did call back Jitesh Sharma the other day.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's, let's not... Viswanath.
I think this is...
And a nice moustache, little bit of sideburns.
Like you said, it was the stylish generation.
Stylish
the
generation.
Pataudi generation, the Bishan Singh Bedi, all these guys.
And they had less. They had less in terms of material belongings, but they gave more.
Yeah.
More generous out there. How I come back to it. How many people would say, no, you don't have to come to see me. I'm going to come to see you. I want to treat you. And what did we have? We had batata vadas at the Bangalore Golf Club. Just a wonderful, wonderful cricket. And many people that you ask of that generation, the best Indian batsman they bowled to, at least a few of them will pick
I think that debate is forever, and it's a great debate. I think no doubt about that. The only reason I go with Sunny, for me, Sunny is the greatest Indian batsman that I've ever seen. Of course, that doesn't mean
I agree with you.
Merchant
I'll go with
senior.
Gavaskar. I mean, and if you ask me, while I chose Solkar and Viswanath, if you were growing up in the 70s as I did, there were two icons for us. Gavaskar on the cricket field, Amitabh Bachchan on the silver screen.
And they're still going strong.
And they're
touch
still
wood.
going
Yeah.
strong. And I think that's their success. Their longevity is their success. Gavaskar still, as excited about commentary as he was 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And,
And
let
still-
me give you my Gavaskar story.
Please do. Would you
I-
consider Gavaskar a hero as well?
Absolutely. I 1990 or early 90s, Gavaskar's retired from the game.
Yeah.
He used to come to the Bombay gym to play badminton.
Of course.
And I'm the
Devon.
captain of the Bombay gym team, and we are playing Dadar Union the next day.
But even if Sunny is in the team, you remain the captain.
No. We are playing Dadar Union the next day
Yeah.
in the semi-final of a tournament. Gavaskar is sitting on the table having just finished his badminton game. So he turns to me, so tomorrow what is the game you're playing? So I said, sir, we are playing Dadar Union. Will you play, sir? It was a Sunday game. He normally only played the Saturday 25 over games by then. I said, sir, tomorrow 50 overs game, will you play? Half knowing that he will say no since he was a hardcore Dadar Union man. He said, Rajdeep, I'll come. I said, sir, you'll play tomorrow under my captaincy. He said, what's the problem? I'll play. Came. Batted it. I said, sir, what number would you like to bat? He said, no, whatever, 4, 5. I said, okay, sir. We were quickly 2 wickets down. Gavaskar comes in, scored 75 not out, helped us to win. Then I found out Gavaskar had a problem with somebody in Dadar Union.
Oh.
And wanted to
Goodness.
wanted to send out a message.
Yeah.
Not out as
Wow.
always. Then I said, sir, next weekend is the final. He says, Rajdeep, you're pushing your luck. That's it. but
Hey,
it is,
Rajdeep, can I tell you my story?
Tell
So
me.
at the Bombay gym, when I was a very young guy, he asked us to bowl to him. He just wanted to practice. So just 3, 4 boys were around, pick up the ball, get to bowl to a great Gavaskar with pads on, I remember. And so we were just chucking it actually because he just wanted us to bowl full. And he was just playing it. So I bowled 1, I bowled 2, and then I tried to just, get the ball to come into him. I hit the pad. And then I appealed. He gave himself out. I got Gavaskar.
Look, I captained Gavaskar.
Yeah.
For me, he has this annual dinner where he brings in people who he's played cricket with.
Yeah.
And for years, I wasn't in that lucky list. Then I reminded him once, sir, don't forget I captained you. So I was actually invited this year to the dinner. We had to postpone it because of the Indo-Pak war situation. But I'm still hoping to have it. And it's typical of Gavaskar that he may have become this all-time great, but he still remembers a lot of the club cricketers from Dadar Union. They all come for that dinner. So you'll have test cricketers, club cricketers all coming together. He is, in that sense, a genuine old-style cricket romantic. Every year on my father's birthday, he'll write an email to my mum saying how I remember Sadi Man. Special guy. So yes, Cyrus, if you grew up in the 70s, he has to be a hero.
Favorite Gavaskar shot, the straight drive?
Favorite has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Before Sachin's punch came, I was just thinking,
Gavaskar's straight drive, pushing past the bowler, it's the best place to get 4.
Yeah.
And I think it symbolized what the 2 words that symbolize Gavaskar's batting, straight bat. He was the ultimate straight bat. There was... And his level of concentration, that first...
to see off the new ball.
It's easy to say, old cricket coaches say first half hour belongs to the bowlers, then it's your, it's your turn to show your
I think
skills.
it's Bradman who says that.
Yeah,
in the
but
art of
Gavaskar
cricket.
really did that. His ability, his self-discipline, which has always been the hallmark of his life.
I think in one of your dad's cricket lectures, he's also mentioned about how we've forgotten the art of leaving the ball.
That's right. Gavaskar's 2 best shots, the straight drive and how to leave the ball outside the off stump.
When you did that, the memory came immediately of that bat, the arc.
He was, and that's why I think he was so successful. I mean, it is not easy opening the batting. And
no helmet.
And no helmet,
some of the fastest
man,
bowlers
no
the world
helmet.
has ever seen.
No helmet.
Imran and his palm, Michael Holding,
I think you've got to
Malcolm
give
Marshall.
those who played in the pre-helmet era at least 5 to 7 runs.
I give
over.
them 10.
I used to give them 10 till DRS happened.
Okay, fair.
DRS means that, today's
would have got out a
batsmen
couple of
also
times,
struggle
yeah,
a bit.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I give them 5 to 6 runs more. So assume Gavaskar average 50 plus, he would be 56. Vishwanath averaged
51.12.
around early 40s, would be
40s.
late 40s. My dad averaged 40, would be 46. So 5 to 6 runs more than what they got because of helmet, uncovered wickets, and and sometimes shocking umpiring.
Short ball, the bouncer could be used liberally, at least in the first half of his career.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So Gavaskar was
umpires were against them in certain countries, which not the neutral umpires has changed that.
Remember Gavaskar being given LBW in Pakistan? I mean outrageous.
Okay, we're trying to bring peace here.
No, come on. Pakistan's umpiring in the late 70s, early 80s was appalling.
Yeah.
And
I think up to Shakur Rana, it was.
And despite that, he
Imran-
scored a century in each innings.
Yeah.
And also got runs when Imran was at his best in 82, 83. So Gavaskar's runs in Pakistan are worth their weight of gold. I mean, he scored runs everywhere.
Everywhere. Australia, England.
He scored runs,
West Indies.
West Indies. There's not a place in the world that he didn't score runs. He's right up there. So while I enjoyed Viswanath's batting, I have to say Gavaskar, Mumbaikar, number one.
Yeah. Well, again, we will have this debate some other day, which is the greatest Indian batsman of all time. I say SMG, but you're free to write in with your comments.
It could be SRT. I mean, I think,
SRT is right there. There's no question. But for me, SMG is always going to be number
one. If
I
had to travel 1,000 kilometers to watch a batsman, I'd go with Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar.
Or even Vishy then for that. Or Lakshman.
Or Vishy. But Sachin.
Watch.
Since you mentioned heroes.
Yeah.
I mean, Sachin came into my life after I had retired from cricket, sort of.
The 234 was forgotten.
My 234
against the six-man team.
But Sachin Tendulkar gave me my first byline on the front page of a newspaper. Times of India, 1988, December.
Before he debuted.
I joined Times of India, November 1988.
Right.
December, Sachin Tendulkar makes his test debut, Ranji
89.
Trophy. 88.
Ranji Trophy debut. Ranji Trophy debut.
As a 15-year-old. And we are all very excited.
On debut.
We are all very excited. And I tell my editor, Daryl DeMonte, sir, I want to go in the afternoon to the Wankhede to see
this phenomenon.
He says, why? No, sir, Sachin's playing his first match. Daryl was not a cricket enthusiast, but reluctantly agreed. Went there, Sachin scores 100. I rush back to the office and I say, sir, I want to write a piece about, I've seen a new dawn in Indian cricket. Took a bit of convincing again. Eventually, Daryl agreed to allow me to write 800 words. Guess what? Next morning, front page.
But just tell us quickly, what was he like at 15? Because I'm trying to remember.
Cyrus, what was he at 9? Sachin's brother, Ajit, and I used to play cricket together. We played for Jolly Cricketers, among other teams. One day, at tea time, this young little boy, waving his little bat, is hanging around, waiting for somebody to throw a ball at him. Sure enough, somebody decides to throw a few balls at him. Honestly, at 9, he was hitting the ball harder than us 15, 16-year-olds. He was extraordinary.
Technique was already in place?
Prodigy.
Bat behind.
Yeah, you see, I think Gavaskar built his technique, built his batsmanship over the years. He honed it. He chiseled at it, became a perfectionist. Tendulkar, at 18 at least, was the real thing already.
The Australia tour where he gets those twin centuries.
By then he was, that century
Another
at
level.
Perth. Another level.
But even his debut in Pakistan, when they were trying to sledge him and all that, he was well equipped.
I was sitting with Ajit. We were watching TV at the Times of India office when Wakar hit him on the nose.
And Sidhu is on the other end.
And Sachin got up and eventually... Main khelega.
Huh.
And I remember Ajit was tense a little bit. And then when Sachin played a perfect shot, Ajit was relaxed.
But it was an open helmet, if I remember correctly, that he used to wear.
Open helmet.
What's the story behind that open helmet? If you're wearing the helmet, you wear the visor. What's the point of that?
No idea, but...
Was he riding a scooty back home?
No. Look, I think Sachin was uncomfortable with the helmet in the first instance because, he was young, he was unafraid. But I played Abdul Qadir and was bowled for one. I have never felt more inadequate on the cricket field. Yeah. One, played... You couldn't read him. Sachin at 16 on that tour
smashed him in an exhibition
for
game,
27 runs in an over. I think
he finished his career more or less with that.
It was, just think about it. I think
Javed Miandar was at slip going on about homework karke aana and those kind of sledging, and this boy was hitting the ball out of the park.
Boss, Sachin, another level in terms of just his prodigious talent. You could argue that maybe given that talent, he should have scored more triple centuries. Done even more, but that's crazy.
Straws.
Once you've scored
51 test centuries,
100 hundreds, international hundreds. He was
centuries everywhere. There's no mark.
The way I see it, Sachin, most loved cricketer that India has produced. Most loved. True. Every mother wanted to take Sachin
and most well-rounded. Oh, okay. Most well-rounded batsman. There's no real weakness. Front foot, back foot, spin, pace, leg spin.
I'm trying to think whether there was any real weakness. No. I mean, the way he
In
dealt
his
with
pomp,
Shane
there was no
Warne.
weakness. There's injuries that caused this and that.
Yeah, but
Shane Warne, I think in India, unfortunately, there was
Sachin
six batsmen who destroyed him one after
look,
another.
I think Shane Warne, once his shoulder started hurting, was not the same for that 1 year. But when he came
couldn't
to
bowl the
India,
googly.
but he was still a terrific bowler. But Sachin made him look again like he did with Kadir. You know, that's the quality of a great
that
player.
too in a 4-day game in CCI before the test.
To make an extraordinary cricketer look ordinary at times is genius. I think Sachin was a genius. So you have Gavaskar, Viswanath and Tendulkar as my cricket batting Trimurti of growing up. Bowling. Who are my bowlers?
Before the Kapil Dev era, we have the quartet.
Before the Kapil Dev era, you have the quartet. My favorite was Chandrasekhar from that era.
Yeah.
Every time he came to bowl, the whole audience would be Chandra, Chandra. You know, bowl. The audience. Now think about it, a spinner, long run up, but still, entire audience bowl. And, you know, there was something that when Chandra came to bowl, something would happen.
Yeah.
And this was true of the 70s. So he was, and Chandra had one great quality. He came once home. You know, that was the privilege you had of being a test cricketer. Other cricketers came home. And Chandra and my dad were great friends. So they come, Chandra comes home and he was a Hindi music buff. And his two favorites were Mukesh and Sehgal.
KL Sehgal,
yeah, but Mukesh was also used to live close to where we used to live.
Right.
So there was one evening.
Drive,
no, in Malabar Hill.
Malabar Hill, okay.
And Mukesh's son and I used to go by the same school bus. So one day, Monish.
I remember Monish.
Yeah. So one day it was organized for Mukesh, Chandra, my father and I sitting on the terrace and listening to songs of the great Mukesh.
He sang.
Oh, and Chandra, sir, you know, here is Chandra, the great Chandra.
Treating me like a baja.
Telling Mukesh what song he would like to hear.
Yeah.
But this was the genius. And in those days, you had a rest day in a 5-day test.
Correct.
So the rest day would be spent, you know, listening to music. So I saw a human side of Chandra. I rang him up the other day. He turned 80 in May. He's born, I think, May 12th. Turned 80. I rang him up. I rang up Prasanna sir when he also turned 80. All these spinners are all roughly the same age group, 80, 81.
Can I ask you a tough question though?
Yes.
If you had to rank the four, I mean, it's a horrible question to ask. My favorite would be Bishan.
Okay, let's try and do it this way.
Yeah.
Pure match winner, Chandrasekhar. You know, who can turn a match in a spell. In just terms of poetry in motion, when it comes to action, you've got to go for Bishan Singh Bedi. If you want to have craft, something craft, Prasanna.
Ian Chappell's favorite.
Yeah, you know, something, you know, crafty about that sort of ability to hold the ball in the air. And then, if you want someone who was khadus, that determined,
and clinical, yeah,
and you know, and determined to irrespective of what the quality of the opposition is, I will bowl to them. You'll choose Venkat.
Which he brought into his umpiring as well.
That's right. So these were the four guys. They were very different in terms of their characteristics as people. But when they came together, you know, it was just you just mentioned your happiest moment to me was when you interviewed Sir Viv Richards.
Yeah.
One of my many happy moments in cricket is to interview these four spinners. They got the C.K. Naidu Lifetime Achievement Award together and I interviewed the four of them. I wish NDTV has that video somewhere out there. But it was just for me, again, a fanboy moment. All four of them in the same place.
And they're great fans of each other.
And it is just remarkable. I used to go to Bishan Paji's house. I lived in Delhi. I've lived in Delhi, so I used to go once in a while to his house. He has this wall of all these four players. There is this great photo of Bedi in a towel in the dressing room after they beaten Australia.
Yeah.
And all these other spinners around them with someone showering champagne somewhere out there. But it's just so great. You know, I think it was... they bowled for each other. You know, it was like...
Even though they would compete.
You know, we say, if Lily don't get you, then Thomo must. So I'm going to change it. If Bedi don't get you, then Chandra must. If Chandra don't get you, then Pras
and
must.
Keep in mind, one would have to be left out because you normally play 3 maximum.
Which is unfortunate. And look who they kept out. You know, they kept out some of my favorite cricketers of that time. Yeah. Shivalkar, Paddy Shivalkar.
He didn't play a test.
What a bowler.
Rajendra Goyal.
Paddy Shivalkar was... He could bowl on a coin if you asked him. Over after over. Once the ball started turning... Magician.
So would have been the lead spinner in any other era?
Any other era. He would have played for India in any other era, barring that era. And maybe you could have played 2 left-arm spinners as you did 2 off spinners, but that never happened. Also, Rajinder Goyal. These were, it was then came Dilip Doshi. So there was an era of spinners all over.
While Rajdeep recalls his favourite cricketers, here's an IDFC first fact about one of our favourite cricketers, Mr. Dilip Sardesai, Rajdeep's dad. As a mark of tribute to his performances against the West Indies, the BCCI in 2007 instituted the Dilip Sardesai Award for players who perform best in bilateral test series between India and the West Indies. Now remember folks, remember closely, Mr. Sardesai scored 811 runs in 10 tests against the West Indies, averaging more than 45.
So the spinners, of course, were memories.
Let's come to that one and only man from Haryana.
Look, change the way Indian cricket is. If you ask me, who are the cricketers who've changed Indian cricket the most? I put Kapil Dev there, along with, of course, Gavaskar, Dhoni, Virat Kohli,
Sachin.
and Sachin. These are my 5 change makers, but I would put Kapil almost right on top there with Virat.
I think so.
Virat, because he's brought this complete aggression, no holds barred aggression onto the cricket field and fitness. And Kapil, because in a land of spinners, here was this so-called Haryana Hurricane. And that unbelievable story that when he was at a camp at CCI as a young cricketer, asked for more chapatis. And Keki Tarapur said, why do you need more chapatis? He said, I bowl fast, I'm tired, I need more chapatis. And Mr. Tarapur said, but nobody in India bowls fast. Kapil Dev showed the world that Indians could be quick. He was not express pace, but he could be quick.
Did you bat against him?
No. I don't think I ever played Kapil. No, I didn't play Kapil Dev, but I watched him. And think about it, Cyrus. He only missed 1 test match in 15 years.
Where they dropped him.
And they dropped him in Delhi in 84.
Hitting the ball in the air.
But apart from that, 15 years on Indian wickets, never a complaint.
When you talk about all the greats of today, Mitchell Starc, etc., our own Mohammad Shami, breaking down, and I'm not disrespecting them, it's a tough game and lots more cricket is being played. What kind of fitness levels did this man have?
And remember quality of equipment. He once told me the shoes that he had. Yeah. They were not the world-class shoes that they have today. They would hurt. The soles your feet would ache. But he was there next morning.
And he would bowl 3-4 spells in a day
25, 30 overs on an average.
Yeah. A quick word on his batting though.
Look, there is the famous story in his first test series in Pakistan. He sent in as night watchman. 20 minutes to go. Goes and hits 4 fours in an over.
Yeah.
Right, including one lofted shot over mid-on. Bedi is looking, he comes
Heart
back.
is beating fast.
20 not out, comes in. Bedi looks at, Arey, tere ko night watchman to play down. He said, sir, I only know how to play like this. And smiled. That is Kapil Dev. He had never heard of what a night watchman is supposed to do.
Oh,
he told me he had never seen a test match till the test match he played.
Yeah.
So he came with no baggage. Famously, when he bowled first over in his test cricket to Sadiq Mohammed, then the Pakistanis came thinking Indians only had spinners, so Sadiq was in his floppy hat. First over, bowled a couple of bounces, immediately Sadiq called for a helmet. That's what Kapil Dev did. That excitement that he brought to Eddie Hemmings.
Those 4 sixes.
4 sixes.
Save the follow on.
I am one of Eddie Hemmings' first class victims.
Yeah.
Not a great bowler. But Kapil Dev treated him like a club bowler. Eddie Hemmings was still a test cricketer. Kapil Dev 4 sixes to avoid a follow-on.
See, that's the greatness of Kapil Dev, but it's also the fact that he had no confidence in Narendra Hirwani, who was at the other end.
No, but still.
Then he said, I might as well go for 4 sixes.
But, I think we were very fortunate, Cyrus, and this is, in the 80s, to have this generation of all-rounders. And maybe we should be looking at...
Are you looking at Ravi Shastri?
No. Ravi also, in his own way.
But Madan Lal, Roger Binny.
I think you have Ravi... You can put a lot of others in that category, though Ravi used his talent to the maximum. No other Indian... Kapil Dev himself once told me, out of all the cricketers that I've seen, if you looked at a cricketer with limited talent but maximum performance, you could turn to Ravi Shastri. Used every ounce of his talent.
But he hit those 6 sixes of Tilak Raj.
Yeah.
And the fact
Tilak Raj. Look, hitting 6 sixes is not easy. Ravi did it. Ravi won you a championship in 1985 Champions of Champions.
He still has the Audi.
Ravi Shastri was the first cricketer who could go with a swag to 1900, the discotheque.
Yeah. He was a superstar. He still is.
But those all-rounders, when I look at, A++,
yeah.
It's Kapil Dev, Richard Hadley,
Botham
Imran
and
Khan,
Imran.
and Botham.
Yeah,
Think
yeah.
about it.
Rank them for us.
Rank them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's. That's a good one. Purely as a batsman, I think Ian Botham.
Right.
Purely as a batsman, Ian Botham was destructive. Imran in his latter half, technically probably the most equipped out of them. As a fast bowler, pure fast bowler,
Imran.
Imran and Hadley. If you had a wicket in England, I'd go with Hadley. If you were playing in subcontinental tracks, you've got to go with Imran, just the pace through the air. If you had to look for the best fielder, I'd go with Kapil Dev. In the slips, Botham, but Kapil Dev as an all-round fielder. And if you just looked at talent and impact, I think Kapil is right up there.
Also, can I just make a case for Kapil in the sense that he's bowling on flat Indian
Absolutely.
wickets 50% of the matches, maybe more.
Absolutely. And then 83, right? 83 happened and transformed Kapil Dev from just the Haryana Hurricane into this national god.
Yeah.
I mean, that day will never... Look at the way he took that catch of Viv Richards. Madan Lal, he makes it look so easy, Kapil Dev. He made cricket look easy. Out of all these all-rounders, I think he was most effortless in that regard. Imran, the best captain, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
So I think we've got... can we have all four bits of all four of them? Hadley also, just on a seaming track, probably the best.
Unbelievably consistent.
Yeah.
But going back to that World Cup moment, do you think if Kapil didn't take that catch, Viv was batting 33 or 28 balls, I think with 7 boundaries, and it was like a walk in the park. 2 or 3 more overs, he'd have been 50 plus, and shoulders would have dropped.
Yeah, game
you think
over.
Game over?
Look, one of the best days.
So that's a real turning point
Cyrus,
in Indian cricket.
Cyrus, one of the best days in my life. I was there.
You saw it live.
I saw it live. We got tickets in the last moment because some Englishman gave us the ticket. They'd lost the semis.
We had switched to radio because the TV went out.
But you know the
in
famous
India
story.
For 5 minutes.
Yajuvendra Singh.
Yeah, Sunny.
Who held the record or still holds the record for most catches.
Shared
record for most catches in a test innings. Was with us at that match. India at lunchtime was about 150 for 8. In those days, you'd have a lunch break, 50
Correct.
overs, and then the remaining 10
overs.
So India all out 183. Sunny says, waste of time, man. I have to go with my wife, or he had to go to pick up a brother. Left the ground. Think of what happened in the next few hours. Sunny Singh, Indian Test cricketer, left the ground at halfway of the India-West Indies 1983 World Cup.
It must have got word that things were...
I remember telling him later, come on, boss. How could you ever...
Didn't come back in time.
He never came back in time. We stayed right till the very end. I still remember running on the ground. I did things which I...
You ran on the ground?
I ran on the ground.
Like a miscreant?
I remember shouting at the West Indians. We did it. They were, you see, right through the day, the West Indians around us were having their rum and they were playing the band and they were giving us a hard time.
Yeah.
When we won, we gave them a hard time by sort of, running on the ground. I still remember Marshall and Dujon were batting together for a while.
That was the point where they could have revived it.
And me and a friend of mine, Jitu Parmar, we were walking around. And I think Dujon or someone gets out.
He slaps the turf.
Slaps the turf. We were at the nursery end of Lords. Jitu says, we are not getting up from here. Then,
superstition.
Superstition. Then when the 9th wicket fell, we went back to our seats. And sure enough, we won the game. But it was an unbelievable day. And I think that's why Kapil Dev's impact is so great. When I said change maker, that day transformed Indian cricket forever. So he became a hero. When you think of heroes, Kapil is definitely among my cricketing.
I think we just quickly slip it in that we beat the West Indies twice in that. We beat them in their first game. Then, of course, they beat us again.
I had another cricket hero in Dilip Vengsarkar.
Oh, my God.
For a Mumbaiker, I used to watch him bat, particularly in the 80s. He was, according to me, the best player.
The first number 1 ranked batsman on the computer.
That's right. And, a lot of us tried to sort of see ourselves as a sort of Vengsarkar.
Did you also bat in the V like that? That ability to play between mid-off and...
I was a bad player, but Vengsarkar was a great. And again, I had the great opportunity at Bombay Gym to play with Vengsarkar once. And I again thought I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
And he had a great on-drive. Beautiful on-drive. Could destroy spin bowling. And got runs all over the world. I mean, got 300s at Lords.
At Lords, yeah.
So, very special. Vengsarkar was again a notch above a batsman of his era.
Fair enough. Financial frauds are becoming more sophisticated each day, and protection starts with education. Get answers to all your financial questions at IDFC FIRST Academy with flexible interactive content covering everything from debt funds to digital currency. Visit idfcfirstacademy.com for free access. Let's get back on track to the modern greats. Because you, Rajdeep, are one of those cricket lovers who just, you're just salivating at the new talent that comes in the next generation. You've seen about 4 generations of great Indian cricketers. So who now, let's call it the Virat Kohli generation?
Virat Kohli generation, I would say, look, I've been fortunate. I saw the Lakshman, Dravid, Tendulkar, Sehwag, Ganguly generation. 5 amazing batsmen, a real constant, Fab 5. And then you have Dhoni, who I think is, for me, a modern day favorite for me. Just the journey, from being a railway ticket collector at Kharagpur to lifting that World Cup trophy in a decade. Amazing. And I remember in my book, I interviewed Dhoni. He rarely gives interviews. And I said, Mahi, you play all these last over sort of 17 runs to get.
Take it to the
And you take it to the end and you usually win more often than not. Don't you feel the pressure? And he said, भाई राजदीप भाई प्रेशर जानते हो क्या है? जब मैं खड़गपुर में टिकट कलेक्टर था और ये सब पब्लिक आती थी and I was told by my boss कि कोई बगैर टिकट नहीं चलेगा. And I had to stop all those excitable Bengalis from jumping on the train. He said that was pressure. उसके बाद bowler क्या है? And then added, remember you're saying I have pressure. Don't forget bowler also has pressure. He's bowling to Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Simple. The ability to uncomplicate life. Dhoni is terrific. And then there is Kohli. I think Kohli is just phenomenal.
How would you rank him in the pantheon of greats? These are very difficult questions.
If we chose an all-time Indian 11, you'd open with Test 11. You'd probably open with Gavaskar and Sehwag. I'm only talking about cricketers I've seen since 71.
Okay.
So that's my cutoff. Gavaskar and Sehwag. You'd go for Rahul Dravid, imposing record at number 3.
Dilip Vengsarkar has a case.
Dilip Vengsarkar has a case, but Rahul Dravid, the sheer volume of runs in all conditions. Unbelievable.
Sachin at 4.
Sachin at 4. 5 is the challenge. 5 is the Viswanath versus Virat Kohli versus VVS Lakshman. You got to choose between these 3.
What about Vijay Hazare, Vijay Manchar?
71.
71 onwards.
People who I've watched.
Right,
so
fair.
out of these 3, you got to choose one, because then you'll have your Kapil Devs, your all-rounders, Dhoni and all. But number 5, 3, I think Vishwanath, if the wicket is really a tough one, Lakshman and Kohli would be the other 2 who would compete for that spot. So he's right up there.
Azharuddin?
Azhar bhai, yes, but not, Azharuddin at his best on flat Indian wickets, yes. On flat Indian wickets. I think the others would edge him even though he got runs everywhere in the world.
What about Jimmy at 82, 83, that one period? That 18 months of superb
Boss, a lot of the guys that I remember once asking this of the great Malcolm Marshall, they
had great respect.
Malcolm told me that he thought, nobody played the West Indian fast bowlers with more courage than Mohinder Amarnath. The ability to take them on at their peak made him very special. But he had these huge ups and downs.
Just that period. I'm just looking at that 2 series, Pakistan and West Indies. Back to back, 5 Test centuries against the best bowling attacks of their generation.
Terrific. And don't forget, he could bowl.
Yeah.
Won you a man of the match in the semi-final, final of a World Cup. Was a brilliant fielder. And, there was something... Mohinder Amarnath, yes, would be one of the contenders. But I still think my number 5 will come between a Vishwanath, VVS and Virat. Virat, just look at the energy he brings, man. The guy can run from long on one side to long on the other.
Razi, let's not forget, he's had a run of about 6 or 7 double centuries in a small span of time, which is Bradman-esque. About 2016-17 to 2018-19.
I think towards the end, playing so much of white ball cricket affected his red ball game.
Also the pandemic. They had that break.
But he had lots of love and respect for the longer format.
Yeah.
I remember once getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning, just after the pandemic, 22, and I was hearing the sound of someone hitting the ball, 6:30 in the morning. I went out. I was staying at the CCI. Go out. Who is it? Virat Kohli. Sanjay Bangar is bowling to him with a throwdowns because he wants to perfect his cover drive. This is a man whose cover drive is revered around the world, but he was getting out, caught in the slip, so he wanted to perfect it.
But isn't it wrong to be playing at 6:30 and disturbing people sleeping? Just kidding. All right.
Virat Kohli. So there's a lot of passion that he's brought, energy. Think about it, a chole bhature man. All his life as a young kid eating chole bhature, all the wrong things. Changes his life, and he told me this, he wanted to become Novak Djokovic. He wanted that level of fitness. Just
possibly
fantastic.
the best Indian batsman on Australian wickets, if you look at the record.
Best Indian batsman on Australian wickets. Lakshman had a great record there as well. But
Dravid also is decent. Sunny also is good.
But I think Virat on Australian wickets. And remember, Australia was the best side of the 21st century. So he always got runs against the best. Saurav Dada, in many ways also. We never really talk about Ganguly and his impact on the game. But great leader.
Real nostalgia trip, and also contemporary cricketers being looked at by Mr. Sardesai here, Mr. Sardesai Jr. But I'm going to end with this question. Favorite Indian cricketer, or let's just make it favorite cricketer for Rajdeep. And I don't want you to think, this is like, what comes to your head. Not the greatest, not the best. We can discuss that forever on this show, but favorite.
My dad. I have to say that.
Sweet.
No, only because, my dad was born in 1940 in Goa. He remains the only Goa-born male cricketer to play for India. Didn't see a cricket ground till he was 17. 1957 comes to Mumbai, brought up by his brother because he had scored 100 against Reserve Bank on a railway track track-like ground in Margao. 4 years later, is playing for India. Great journey again from a small town. I call him the Dhoni before Dhoni happened. Again, a small town guy who makes it big in the big city, which is why I have a special affection for Dhoni as well. But, and my dad never let you, and you know that better, never let you believe when he was in his company that he was, this big Indian player.
But he could talk cricket. I used to drive him mad.
He was not a great player, and he knew but he was an important player for India, and he just romanced the game. Short pants, chappals on a Sunday, going to Maidan, looking for talent.
Just tell the people.
I will never
up and down the length and breadth of the Maidans of India.
I will never forget Cyrus, him ringing me up excitedly. Rajdeep, I want you to come to Mumbai soon. I want you to see. I've seen the next big Bombay cricketer.
Sachin.
No, this was 2006-07, I think. Just before he passed away, it was Rohit Sharma.
Wow.
And he had seen him play once. And knew that he had something special. Ravi Shastri was telling me the other day. He saw Ravi play at Cross Maidan for Karnataka Sports Club against MB Union, scored double century. Rings up the other selectors. This boy has to play. So he had that love, passion for the game. And, so as I said, in that sense, he is a favorite for me because he represents to me that what cricket means for people. It's the ultimate source of mobility for people who come from middle-class families to rise up, but also because it's democratic.
Maybe we should change the dream from Bollywood to cricket.
It is
ultimate sapna. The ultimate sapna in India is the man who treads his way from wherever to the Wankade or the Chinnaswamy or the
And
Kursa.
importantly, it is not nepotistic. Bollywood, you could get away with nepotism. No. Truth
I have
is,
friends.
No. Nothing. But the truth of the matter, I am a living example of the fact that you can have cricket in your blood, but you can't have talent in your blood. So, to play for India, you need genuine talent. And therefore, all these cricketers that I've spoken about, and then we could add many, Sandeep Patil. I have so many heroes. It's unbelievable. How you create, when you get a hero.
We do have a time constraint, so we have to stop here. But thank you so much, Rajdeep. And next time you have a birthday party, please call me. Please put me back on the list.
Okay, I invited Cyrus on WhatsApp. There are 2 ticks, but he apparently doesn't go anywhere post 9 p.m. He stays at home, which is a problem for his wife and family, but for the rest of us,
Mr. Sardesai is doing the comedy as well as the cricket. What is there for me to do now?
The week that wasn't.
Yeah, I wish. Before we bid adieu, which is a Sanskrit word, adieu, a quick warning from IDFC FIRST Bank about downloading malicious APK files. Scammers use social engineering to trick you into downloading harmful APK files that steal your personal data. Only download apps from trusted sources like Google Play or Apple Store and disable install from unknown sources in your settings. Avoid clicking on unverified links and never download apps from unknown sources. Never.